Jessica, and one of my favorite versions of Christmas song is the Straight No Chaser version of 12 Days of Christmas.
That's a very, very good one. I like that. My name is Britty, and my favorite holiday song, I don't know favorite, but top of the list is a Christmas song sung by Seal, specifically. Into it. And Seal.
Seal.
Kiss from a Rose? No? Okay, great. I also want to introduce our guest on this podcast. Please introduce yourself and your favorite song.
I'm sorry, I'm just reeling from Jessica not knowing Seal right now.
We must introduce Kiss from a Rose to Jessica.
I mean, I maybe have heard it before. I just don't know who it is.
I know you know it.
You know that when it snows, this is technically a parody, so you cannot sue me for using this melody, my friend Seal. I'm John.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
And today, my favorite holiday song, I think, the one I've been vibing with the most, is probably Lucy Dacus's cover of Last Christmas. It's just very good. Very good.
Nice. Welcome to the first of 7 days of Coltsmas. Woo!
Yes.
It's back for another year.
Return. If you are unfamiliar with Coltsmas, this is a little different than our normal cult classics. It's a podcast within a podcast, basically. And for this podcast, that only happens once a year, we make bad Hallmark movies. Holiday Hallmark movies, specifically. Hallmark being the general term for the holiday direct-to-TV, Netflix. Slash streaming that's made on like a $2 budget in the middle of July. Like, you know what it is. When I say this, you know what this is.
We're talking Christmas Prince. We're talking the Princess Switch. We're talking A Night Before Christmas, spelled with a K.
Yes,
exactly. Those were all Netflix examples. Here's this year's Hallmark example. There's a movie out called A Royal Corgi Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
And it is about a dog behaviorist who works with a prince to train a dog before a holiday ball.
Amazing.
And you know they gonna fall in love.
They're gonna.
Also,
those are the vibes.
Good vibes.
Those are the vibes. Also, Coltsmas is technically, now that we're doing it multiple years in a row, it is a holiday.
Yes.
We established our holiday traditions last year, but just as like a refresher, at least of the ones that I remember. So the important ones, I think.
The important ones?
Is you have to put a little horse figurine up every day of Coltsmas. There's 7 of them. There's 7 days.
And it is, in fact, the first day of Coltsmas when we're recording this.
It is. So we got the horses out. Just the
I think
one.
we were going for, like, very, like, real and in-the-moment experiences. Like, that's what we were talking about before the podcast. Like, we really want to capture what it's like to celebrate Coltsmas throughout December. So, like, it is December 26th when we're recording this. The presents are open. The leftovers are being eaten. My mom is making empanadas, which she always does the day after Christmas / I guess for the first day of Coltsmas. So I guess that's my Coltsmas tradition.
That's your Coltsmas start. And then what is it, the bowl of popcorn also has been placed out?
Yeah, I think I forgot about that last year, but we are supposed to set out a bowl of popcorn.
I'm ready.
And at some point you have to watch a already established, like, Hallmark type movie.
Yeah, you get to listen to this podcast and also watch a holiday Hallmark movie. I am planning at some point this week to watch Night Before Christmas. It's been on my list forever, and I really want to.
It's quite good.
I love Vanessa Hudgens. I think she's so fun, and I just, like, Knights are, like, my top, like, characters. Like, I love a Knight.
He's got that, like, good Heath Ledger, A Knight's Tale curly hair in it, too.
Yeah. So those are the Coltsmas traditions. Everything else is up to your, how you want to celebrate. Yep. But this is the vibe. This is the spirit. And because we need to, like, rock and roll, y'all, we need to get going. Why don't we make a holiday movie?
Let's do it.
We have to. It is a must.
Who is doing the generator, by the way?
That's a good question.
You know, I
No
happen
scopes.
to already have it pulled up in a tab over here. I was running some tests for y'all beforehand because I know that y'all had revamped it a little bit.
Yeah, well, let me let you screen share so that we can see what's going on.
Yeah, let me tell you, she's running very well.
Okay, excellent. Well,
Yeah.
you should have
Let me remember how to screen share in Zoom. It's a big green button. I should have noticed that. Perhaps.
Press the button.
Press the big green button. I tried to update the title generator this year to like not have the word Christmas come up so many times. Not that we don't love Christmas, but we are trying to... Coltsmas is all-inclusive holiday times. Yes. So, like, all holidays, well, winter-ish type holidays count in
Didn't
Coltsmas.
we make a Halloween movie one Coltsmas?
We might have. I feel like that's a little bit of a stretch into,
it's a
like,
stretch,
fall.
but it's like...
But...
We need to do maybe at some point like a offshoot of Coltsmas that's like other holidays that don't get the love that they deserve. Mm-hmm. Anyways, okay. So John's got control of this. Are we? Yeah, I know. Dangerous. Are we?
Dun, dun, dun.
Anybody got a soundboard? Start pressing buttons.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So. Did we want to throw a word in here? Is that what we wanted to do? Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's been working really well for our Cult Classics episodes to kind of put something funky in that maybe the generator probably doesn't already have.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of pull something interesting and weird. Anybody have any word suggestions?
Let me see. Let me grab one. Let me get one from Britty.
From me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I am wearing, this is not, obviously, nobody can see this, because we're not going to be making a video version of this, unfortunately, but I am wearing an alien, button-up today, so I feel like alien is gonna be my word.
That's, I think that's worth considering.
Alien Christmas.
An alien Christmas.
An alien Christmas.
What are you thinking, Jessica? You got any word ideas, any themes that we want to explore in this movie?
Gosh, I don't know. You're the guest, you decide.
Okay. Now, I know...
Let's give our guest all the responsibility.
I know we have already discussed the podcast within a podcast that this is. Mm-hmm. What if we took it to a third level?
Oh, no.
And podcast was the word here. I just think there's a lot of possibilities in that. Inception all the way down. Well, consider podcasts have a lot of heat right now in the film and TV world.
Really? But they're not really holiday themed, I think, is the thing. We're talking about we want a romance in the middle of Santa's workshop. If Santa has a podcast, I'm going to throw myself off a cliff.
I'm telling you, though, we got Only Murders in the Building. That's huge. That's been huge for Hulu. You've got a show on Peacock that it got canceled, but there was a podcaster in it. But like, didn't get canceled because of that. It got canceled for other reasons that were stupid. And I really liked that show, and I'm sad about it.
What show was this?
Rutherford Falls. Rutherford Falls. A podcast was a central part of the plot.
I've never heard of
that
it.
show.
Well, I also don't watch Peacock, so that's part of it.
It's a great show with a lot of native talent in the writers' room. It's kind of about land back. It's pretty cool.
That's neat.
It's hilarious. Also, it's a great sitcom. Let's see. Oh, yeah. BJ Novak just put a movie out about a podcaster investigating a murder in Texas. Like, it's
okay, but none of these are giving me that holiday romance.
But imagine like a podcaster returns to their hometown to document the way that America has become more divided than ever.
Let me ask you one question, John. Let me ask you one question. Do you know any podcasters that aren't in their hometown?
Yes. Everyone who works for NPR. Big business podcast.
Big podcast TM doesn't count. I don't think. If you're publicly funded, I think that's a different scenario entirely. That's just radio, but with less steps.
I mean, not to, like, indulge in this or defend John, I guess, but you could subvert the trope, and instead of somebody going back to their hometown, it could be they go to a city for Christmas to get away from hometown or something like that.
Ooh.
Well, where are we putting Okay, we are talking about podcast plot right now. We need to put it in the title somewhere.
Well, let's shuffle this a bunch of times and see what happens. All right, we got love, we got raps, we got claws.
Not claws.
I don't know if any of these are good like starter words.
Claws veto. Well, should we throw podcast in the front, just see what happens?
I want to know what happens if you put podcast in first.
Okay. You got to put a space there.
Podcast?
And you gotta shuffle, because it always auto-defaults to those three. At first, my brain read one of those as lettuce. I don't know why.
We got German, Venture, and Mistletoe. I'm gonna shuffle again.
Princess!
Podcast Princess!
Yes, Podcast Princess.
Of.
Yep.
Mistletoe.
Podcast Princess of Mistletoe. Here we go.
Now this turns into like a matchmaking like gossip column.
I kind of that could be something. Princess of Mistletoe is so powerful, but is it Podcast Princess of Mistletoe, or is it Podcast Princess of Mistletoe? Because I feel like there needs to be some deviation in this.
I think,
Like, is the name of the podcast Princess of Mistletoe? Is that what you're asking?
Right. Well, because I feel like that would be the deviation, right? Like, is it the podcast is Princess of Mistletoe, right? Or is it Podcast Princess?
The Podcast Princess.
Yeah.
I mean,
does anyone know if there are any real princesses that have podcasts? Because I would be very interested to know this.
Well, Meghan Markle.
Does she have a podcast?
Yes.
Heck yeah!
Meghan Markle does in fact have a podcast.
I didn't realize she had a podcast.
Huh.
That's cool.
Yes.
Now, is she a princess?
She is a princess. Her title is Duchess of Sussex, but she is a princess in the hierarchy of things.
I don't know enough about the royal hierarchy to even know. I'm just like...
It is the royal hierarchy. It is the royal hierarchy.
Listen, I speak
Monarchy is a stain upon the world.
I speak for a living.
I think that the problem is I like both, because I like the idea of somebody like having the nickname Podcast Princess because they're like really good at podcasts, or they, are very eloquent on podcasts, so they're a podcast princess. But I also like the idea of the podcast name being Princess of Mistletoe, because I feel like that's a really good podcast name.
Yeah, it could be literally about someone who's like doing like a holiday movie podcast or something like that.
No, we're going too meta. No.
That's a little meta.
No, I can't. My brain can't handle that. If the podcast was called Princess of Mistletoe, right? I feel like it is some kind of matchmaking something, right? Because it's like you're under the mistletoe. Welcome to Princess of Mistletoe, right? Something like that.
Dating advice podcast.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, John.
I feel like that's kind of the direction we're leaning.
Okay, I have a really good idea. Can I share my
Yes,
idea?
please.
Okay, so, well, I don't know if it's really good, but it came into my head. So she gives like dating advice and stuff, but she is also currently chronically single.
Yes.
So maybe like, I don't know, it could be one of those things where there's like a meet cute, or it could be one of those things where like her listeners are like trying to set her up with somebody.
Ooh.
Or something along the lines of like, she does give really good dating advice, but currently, and maybe for a while, like, I don't think we want to pull too far from like never been in a relationship, because like then you're not really giving great dating advice necessarily. But like, it's been a while.
Unless that's the twist, right?
I don't think it's necessarily even never been in a relationship, but like never been in one longer than like 3 weeks even.
Sure.
A chronic, like a serial dater.
Okay, but let me pitch you this. Okay, Princess has never been on a single date, but that is like something that is so buried that you don't know this. So then it can be this reveal, right? Maybe that's even like the thing that happens halfway through that kicks the movie off into that like, what's gonna happen, right? Of the whole audience finds out that
loses trust of her audience.
Yeah, she's never been in a relationship. She's been on like 2 dates, right? Like, and
I think we can even like twist the knife a little bit and make it so that like she recaps the dates that she's been on like each episode of her podcast, and she's just making them up wholesale.
Oh.
Or she's like pulling like her friends' dates and like pulling them as her own.
Yes.
Yeah. And so then what we've created, right, is this, like, she genuinely gives good advice, right? Like, it is not that she's giving poor advice under this guise of, like, well, I know what I'm doing. Like, she's giving genuinely good advice. But it's all built on top of this foundation of, I have been in relationships, and here is the knowledge I've gained from them, right?
It's like, I did it so you don't have to, but in reality, she hasn't done it.
Right.
She hasn't done it.
She hasn't done it. And I wonder if maybe that can be paralleled with, right, the audience at large, but also this person who I wonder if she meets somebody, doesn't tell this person that she's got a podcast, and so then things start to develop, but she tells him or her, whoever, the same things that she tells her audience, right? Like, yeah, these are things that have worked for me in the past on dates and dating and all of this stuff. And then this person also finds out the truth, like at the same time, but they're different in the way that this person isn't dating her because of her show, right? Like, it's this like, reveal.
Let me pitch another thing to you.
Yeah.
Which is, what if it's like a moderately like well-to-do, like kind of like new money person, like someone who's like maybe he's from like a small town or something like that, or has like a Christmas related business or some kind of holiday related business, like where like his business is the holidays or something like that, so bringing in the holiday element here. And he is really unlucky in love, and he actually pays her as a consultant to help him with his love life.
Ooh.
And then you kind of have like some wedding planner stuff going on in here too, where they're like falling for each other, and then when it's revealed, then they like one night they're like having a rehash, and they're like, oh, you know what? Let's go to this Christmas bar and like let's discuss things. And then like 2 drinks in, she's like, you see, here's the thing. I've never actually been on a date.
Is this a date right now?
Yes.
That would be me. Are we on a date right now? Yeah, okay. So we've created, right, this like middle of the movie bit.
Yes.
Or kind of closer to the end, roughly, right? We're like, I don't know, 65 minutes in.
We're gonna go with like the classic holiday movie liar revealed moment, of course.
Of course. What is going to happen to fix this, right? Because I think on the podcast side of things, I think if she just has this like really heartfelt like, hey, here's the truth of it, basically laying it all on the line, and then that would be the healing moment for the audience, right? Of being like, okay, here's the truth of it.
And when I've just divulged the truth, I get really hungry. So why don't you use my code at Blue Apron?
No. Okay, your face. Please tell me.
I'm sorry. This might be a little bit Disney of me, but what if so this person so they listen to her podcast, right? That's what we've established. I'm making sure I'm tracking correctly.
Yes.
Okay. So when the truth is revealed, they feel like really betrayed or whatever, and they say there's some, exchange that happens, and it makes her feel really bad. And so when she goes onto the podcast to, like, she's like, I feel like I need to come clean because somebody, showed me that I've been lying to everybody or whatever. And they basically, like, she, like, makes references to this other person and also, like, basically gives, like, a formal apology to them on the podcast. And so then there's the, like, you can have the bit where, like, I know podcasts don't tend to go in real time, but you could do that screen sharing almost of, like, her speaking into the microphone and the person listening to this heartfelt apology, even like
from
as her.
as a flashback, kind of, because I have another idea, which is like maybe they're like, it hurts too much, so they're not listening to the new episode, but their best friend, who was like, I checked this podcast out because I know you were really into her. You have to hear what she has to say.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's very good.
Yeah. I think, and I do agree, because I think that clarifies some things as far as, like, the reveal, right? So if we're saying, so the audience doesn't know of the podcast until she says something, basically. Because what we're establishing here, right, is, like, she reveals to this person that she's a fraud, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so they have this exchange, but it's private, right? But because of those feelings, she goes onto her podcast, right, and reveals all of these things and says, okay, here's the formal apology to my listeners and to this person that I was trying to help. So just, like, that's a great way to not have it have to be too convoluted. Like, it is pushed forward by her actions, specifically. Yes, yeah, exactly. I really like that a lot. Okay, I think we should nail down some stuff here really quickly. So
yeah, we need to nail down holiday specifics. I think.
What's her name? First of all, is her name, like, do we want to go cheesy of, like, Missy?
I'm gonna be completely honest here, and maybe it's just because it's princess, but I'm kind of leaning Elizabeth.
Okay,
I watched the Nutcracker recently, so I was gonna say Clara.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Okay, Clara. And so the podcast itself is called Princess of Mistletoe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's not an actual princess. That's just the cool name of the podcast. Okay,
yes.
Cool. Her name is Clara. Great.
Yes, and I think it's like, okay, how are we going to, like, integrate the Christmassy aspect into the podcast? I mean, obviously it's called Princess of Mistletoe.
She just really likes Christmas. Like that's her hook, right? So she's like giving dating advice, and she basically prefaces things with, like, we're gonna meet under the mistletoe, because she just really likes Christmas. Because I feel like that's a very standard thing of a lot of Hallmark Netflix holiday movies, is, like, the main character just loves Christmas. It doesn't matter what season it actually is, they just love Christmas.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and that, being the hook, right, then it could be that during the actual Christmas holiday season, she goes hard in the paint for, like, hey, I'm doing extra episodes, and I'm gonna interview Santa Claus, like doing extra stuff. And so that could be even more impactful of why this apology episode comes out when it does, right?
The city's most eligible mall Santas.
So okay, so that, right, that being like the vibe is just Clara loves Christmas, right? I think that it doesn't have to be anything more than that. What is this romantic person? Because I do like them being, like, an eligible single person who is very well to do, hiring Clara as a consultant. I love that. I absolutely adore that. Are we going classic Hallmark rich businessman?
I think we're going rich business person. I want to leave the gender like unclear, so that, like, in the casting process we can just hire the best person for the part. So with that, I propose Tony, which can be spelled with a Y or an I.
I was gonna say Alex.
I was gonna
Alex
say
works too.
Taylor.
Also good. How about, okay, wait, if we're making them very rich, Alex Taylor.
Ooh.
Alex Taylor. I like it.
It gives a lot of, like, that double name of somebody who has a home in the Hamptons.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I don't know why I'm writing this down, but this is very important. I'm writing this down.
It's very good.
It's very good. Okay. I think we should have a little mini moment, maybe, like, 20 minutes, 30 minutes in, because we're going to establish Clara and the podcast and the audience that likes the podcast, and you know, maybe her frantically preparing for the most eligible small Santas, something, right? Like, you know, we're getting this preparation.
I like the idea of it being kind of like an Edgar Wrighty, like hard cuts, like between each of these moments throughout the day, like set to the beat of something.
Yeah. Oh, you know,
yeah.
I'm into that. I'm into some like rhythmic bass editing. So I think we need to have a moment 30 minutes in where we introduce how Alex Taylor discovers this podcast.
I think Alex Taylor has been listening to it for the last 3 years. and I think perhaps it's like a guilty pleasure thing for them. And like it's one of those things where they're like, maybe like they've just like come home from another bad date and they're like, that's it. I have the money now. I need to try something new. And it's like they reach out. What if
they also the dates for them have been bad because their parents have been trying to set them up with people? I've been watching a lot of media with that trope in it right now.
Okay.
I mean, that is very like rich, you know, family situation.
Yeah.
Let me say this. I don't know if 3 years, like, to me there's no discovery, right? Because the thing as a filmmaker that I would want to see is a moment of this discovery, because I think having this situation of even if we establish some kind of flashback, like, I'm not a fan of like really going super far back for that kind of really quick moment, but the idea, right, of like establishing that this person, who we are going to say is important later, discovers this show, this podcast, and connects with it, and they're connecting with it in a way of like, they don't know this person is near them, they don't know anything about this person, but they are feeling like they are being heard through this show, and that's why they're gonna keep listening to it. I think if they're a regular listener, it doesn't have quite as much of a moment.
What if, like, as they're leaving this awful, god-awful date, they see, like, a bus bench or bus stop ad or something for new season Princess of Mistletoe or something like that. Like, she's got a big enough podcast that, like, she's got, like, the backing of, like, you know what? Let's call them Message Ape.
What? Oh, like a sponsor. Okay.
A sponsor. You know what? Let's call this. Yeah, they're certainly not important Atlanta-based company that has sponsored a lot of podcasts. MailChimp. It's certainly not that.
Message 8 to me sounds like a group chat app, which I'm into. I'm into that. You send each other like little monkey emojis.
Like maybe this is their first season, like, with this big studio, so now she's got like production money and like pressure exactly. This is so this Christmas season is like make or break for her to like really break into it. She's got her loyal listeners, but she's got this new exposure, this new audience, and with that new exposure comes Alex Taylor's discovery, which leads to, that's it, I need to work with her.
Yeah. Because we can have a moment, right, 10 minutes of Alex Taylor listening to this show, and like there can be a bit in the dialogue where something she says on the podcast really resonates with them, right, in a way that it doesn't fix the problem, right, but it is something that resonates so much that then they're like, okay, I gotta figure out how to get in contact with this person. And I think it could be fun to have a little moment where they can't figure out how to get in contact with them, so they just show up to the studio.
Oh.
Right? Like, there's no email, or the website is down or something, and they're like, I'm gonna figure this out. You know, they're powerful enough, they can place some calls and be like, where is this being recorded? And then they go and show up. Be like, hey, I need your help.
I have also a suggestion. I think both of them need to have best friends to have dialogue with, because I think that Clara needs to have a conversation with her best friend. Like, maybe like her best friend also helps her with the podcast or something, so they're
I think her best friend could be her executive producer. I think we could be doing some like Roz and Frasier stuff here, like having some fun with that.
I was thinking more of like the sidekicky best friend where they're like the audio engineer.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
The same brain cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what I meant. I said executive producer, and that's what I actually meant was engineer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like the one that's like, you know, hiding and watching and like doing all this stuff.
Has a mic and occasionally breaks in.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
I don't know if that's the general, like, I like the idea of this individual best friend being like a very behind the scenes.
Gotcha.
Right? Like they're that best friend that's very supportive, but they're just making sure that Clara sounds good.
Gotcha. Okay.
And maybe giving advice, but not on.
Yeah, not on
on
air.
air.
Yeah.
So Clara and best friend obviously have to have some sort of like debrief conversation or something after a recording of an episode where it is revealed to the audience that Clara has literally never been on a date.
Oh, yeah.
Ever.
So it's not a
Absolutely.
surprise to the audience when we have that reveal with Alex Taylor. It's just a surprise to Alex Taylor and then the listening audience or the podcast audience. Oh, there's too many audiences.
We've got track of the audiences.
We've got too meta. Yeah. Whoop. Sean just dropped out of frame and it scared me. I know this is not a visual medium, but that scared
I forgot that moving my laptop to look for something underneath it would in fact make me disappear.
Oh,
from
it just
my
like
Coltsmas Wonderland.
You dropped down and it made me just get scared. Yeah. Yeah. This is very good podcast content. Okay.
Excellent podcast content.
I don't know if there's anything, like, other than, I don't know, maybe, like, a dramatic kiss moment. I don't know.
Under the mistletoe, obviously.
Yes.
A mistletoe in a gazebo in the middle of the park that's all decorated for Christmas.
With
and
lights on it.
Carolers, etc.
Yes.
I
don't know.
Ooh. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I don't know if there's anything else, but clearly I was wrong.
Well, I really didn't think I was going to have ideas for this, but it has just been like one thing after another has been clicking in my brain. So in the formal apology, maybe Clara doesn't say Alex Taylor's name, but it's very heavily like implied, and she says, like, she sets some sort of, like, date or something. Like, this, I really want to say sorry to you in person, and so on this day, whatever, I'll be at the gazebo in the middle of the town square, waiting.
Mm-hmm. And then her fans get Meet the Princess at the Gazebo trending on Mastodon, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe it's like right up to the, like, it's down to the wire, like there's not a lot of time left, and Alex Taylor's best friend is like, dude, you gotta listen to this podcast because Clara is apologizing to you.
And we have the Tom Cruise running scene.
Yeah, the dramatic running scene. We gotta have the dramatic running scene.
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you this. So, this is very important. This is a very important detail. Mm-hmm. If we've got Clara at the gazebo to give the formal apology, has she set up the mistletoe, or does Alex Taylor come with it, like, in their pocket? Like,
I thought it was just
I just figured it would just
be
there already.
Because, okay, but let me pitch this then. What if it's not? What if it's just a beautiful Christmas gazebo, right? Gorgeous, lovely. Alex Taylor makes it finally in time, and they have this very nice moment, and then, like, they start to go in for the kiss, and then they back away, and they pull it out of their pocket and, like, hold it above both of them.
Yes.
Is that cute?
Yes.
I think that's cute.
And it's like a very like a nod to, like,
moment.
the whole the whole thing. Yeah. I think, okay, but let me just say this too. I think when we have this conversation between Clara and best friend about never having been on a date, I do think that Clara needs to really be like, and I really want to be kissed under mistletoe. Like, really drive it home of, like, this is a dream of Clara as the princess of mistletoe. Mistletoe?
Mistletoe.
Mistletoe.
Oh, it's a mistletoe.
It's mistletoe.
It's a mistletoe. Okay, we gotta stop before I lose my mind completely. Is there anything else for this adorable movie?
I was gonna ask, like, where this was set, but obviously if there's a beautifully decorated gazebo in the middle of town, it's a small town.
Yeah.
Well, it could be I think it's a mid-sized city.
Okay.
I was thinking of
with a
Waterford,
decent, public park.
which is pretty small.
It's very small.
Like, there's a town kind of close by to us that's, like... It's small town vibes. It's like everybody knows everybody. But they have pretty big festivals, so it's like... It's not true. Like, insanely small. It's not like 3 people. So, but that's where when I picture a gazebo, that's where I picture it. Like,
I know which one you're thinking of.
Yeah, because it's cute, and you could totally light that up, and it's like big, and I've been to festivals where they like put all the musicians in there. So like, I feel like, I don't know, yeah, like not large enough that like if you didn't know where you were going, you would get lost kind of city, but like not small enough where it's like
there's one stoplight.
Yeah. Aunt June is there. Uncle Joe and Bobbert. Like, those are the only 3 people in the town. Like, we need a little bigger than that.
Yeah, because I was thinking also, like, obviously with these movies, there's a lot of things that you're like, okay, that totally makes sense, but not really. Because I was like, would it make sense for her to have this big, like, sponsorship deal and is recording this podcast in, like, a fancy studio if she's in a really small town?
See, that's why I think, like, mid-sized city.
Mid-sized, yeah, I
makes
think
a lot
that's...
of sense. Like,
that's
something
fair.
like Wichita or Augusta-sized or something.
But what
like
if
that.
it was, like, smaller town that has, like, one big studio, that the studio is used for, like, a radio station, a news broadcast, and like an open recording. But Alex Taylor
works in the city that's nearest by.
Yeah.
And has to come to the small town.
And that's why we have a deadline, because it's like Alex Taylor isn't like there.
Oh, yes. So like, not just running, there's also driving.
Yes, or a bus or something, or a taxi or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taxi drive faster.
Taxi drive faster. Because I'm just thinking of like where we're at, like Jessica and I, there's several bigger cities nearby that like are drivable-ish within a day, but it's not like, I'm gonna drive there in 2 minutes. So it adds like a sense of like, if I needed to get resources from a larger city, I have access to that, but where we're at right now is like comfortable. But yeah, if somebody was like, I have a big job close by-ish, but I'm gonna come to you, it's a 2.5 hour drive, right? Like, it's sizable, but it's doable.
Yeah.
Because I think that would also add some, like, weight to Alex Taylor being like, I want to consult with this person, right? And it still makes sense of why there would be an advertisement close by.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And it could be, like, a little less than 2 hours, right? Like, we're making these cities up. It could be an hour away, right?
Yeah.
So it's like an hour away is totally within where, like, some kind of advertising company would put those kind of ads, especially if it's for, like, a studio that also has, like, the radio station and the news station, because they could, like, dual the ads, being like, this ad is split between Jet 72, News at 10, and Princess of Mistletoe, right?
Yeah.
And that would be something that would make sense for the surrounding area. Maybe not the news, because I feel like the news might not make sense for an hour away, but like some kind of a production, something. I'm trying to think of like what other production style things you could do. Radio is great. Because radio
would work really well.
Radio can reach pretty far. And that could be an interesting conversation to have. I don't know if this is something we want to have this conversation about, but like podcasts being on radio inclusionary with podcasts, like
just sprinkle in this like
the way that the industries have become.
No, I was thinking like not even a B plot, like a C plot of like there's like a rivalry between the podcast studio and the radio studio, but Clara's best friend ends up falling in love with somebody from the radio or something ridiculous.
There we go.
Like
there
that.
we go.
Yeah, I really like that because I think there could be like offhanded lines about, well, you can't listen to their show after it's aired. We have streaming capabilities. We have replayability, and then like the other somebody else being like, well, they don't even do it live, like
right.
A little bit of like a head to head with that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't add any extra thing other than like a little bit of spice. That could be fun.
Sprinkle it in there.
I feel like too, we're definitely misrepresenting the industry a lot in a way that I think works really well for a Hallmark movie. Because
exactly.
The thing about Hallmark movies is you have to simplify everything. Like that's what makes it work, is the simplicity of it, right?
Yeah.
Like this is not real people living real lives with complicated overlapping emotions. This is what life is. It is this thing only.
Yeah.
You never have to worry about telling the taxi driver where you live. Everybody knows everything.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I feel like maybe possibly we might have just stolen your whole everything from you, John. I feel like we overtook the creation. So is there anything you want to really just sprinkle in there?
No, I think this was beautiful.
Okay.
I think this was wonderful.
Is it everything you ever dreamed and hoped of?
I loved everything about this. Honestly. We made
got
a
really
podcast
excited.
romance that actually worked really well.
We got really excited for some reason.
Yeah.
This is the energy that I bring to the studio. I am a natural exciter.
I would love you to be in the real studio with us one day.
Oh my gosh,
Wouldn't
that
that
would
be
be
fun?
amazing.
John, come up here and come
Listen,
to our studio.
We've been wanting a Northeast swing for a bit, okay?
Yeah! Yeah!
Listen, a mutual friend of mine and Britty's just got a house in Albany and a dog. Like, come on.
True. That would be a bit of a swing, but yeah, we could make that work.
Certainly a swing, yes.
Yeah, we can make that work. Okay, so, I mean, if we've got nothing else, that is the general... recap. Podcast, Princess of Mistletoe, right? Where there's a colon in there. Absolutely. Okay, so, Clara, podcaster who has been doing the show Princess of Mistletoe for a while, gets this deal with this joint production studio with a radio station inside to create the first produced season of Princess of Mistletoe. She does this show. It's a dating advice show with a Christmas theme because she loves Christmas. She has a best friend who is the audio engineer at the studio. They've been friends for a while. They have this fun little sit down after a debrief of an episode where Clara reveals to the viewing audience of the movie that she has never been on a date. All of the things are made up, or not made up. They are pulled from her friends' experiences, and she gives really good advice, but she has no actual life experience to back it up. Enter Alex Taylor, rich.
Also reveals that her dream is to have her first kiss under mistletoe, or a important kiss under the mistletoe.
Yes, good. That's a good detail. Enter Alex Taylor, who is a rich business person in the big city that is slightly close to where the Princess of Mistletoe is being produced.
An hour's drive.
Close-ish. Alex Taylor has a fine job and a fine life, or a fine job, not a fine life. Has a very bad dating life, right? Every date is a
complete disaster.
Complete disaster. Cannot, for the life of them, figure out what is happening, why this isn't working. They see an ad for Princess of Mistletoe on a bus bench, on a something that flits across.
They binged 5 episodes.
They listen to the podcast. They binge it. They're like, this is it. This is what's gonna fix it. Something that they hear resonates with them, and they go, you know what? You know what's really gonna fix this is if I ask Clara herself for help. I'm gonna pay her as a consultant. Cannot find any contact information. Is like, what is happening? The website is down. This is not working. Decides to drive to, they figure out through some way or another where the studio is. Drive to the studio or taxi to the studio or something. Gets to the studio, busts in the door, hey, I need your help. Maybe not busting the door. Like this, I think this business person is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is part of the charm of like the confusion for the like viewing audience of like, why is their dating life so bad? Like they're very nice. Like why not?
And they have a series of meetings. They go on a couple of dates that are starting to get slightly better, but they're falling for Clara this whole time.
Yeah, so there are other dates that are happening, but the whole time they're getting more and more in love with Clara.
And then Clara drops the bomb after a work drinks session.
Yes.
I've actually never been on a date.
I've never been on a date.
And then
How could you betray me like this?
Yes. Your advice, is it all a sham? Right? And then that goes into, like, they exchange heated words, and Clara is very upset that Alex Taylor is upset, and decides to lay it all out on the line on a reveal-all apology episode of Princess of Mistletoe. Doesn't reveal who this person is, heavily implies, but says, here is this apology, but I want to give you a genuine apology in person. Meet me at the gazebo at this time, and I will make it up to you. Right? Alex Taylor doesn't want to listen to the podcast anymore. Done. Moping, sulking, sad. Alex Taylor's best friend is like, you gotta listen, you gotta listen, you gotta listen, you gotta listen to this podcast. And then I think there should be a fun little reveal of being like, it's trending on Twitter, you gotta listen.
I think literally he puts the ears into AirPods into Alex Taylor's ear and presses play on the clip.
Yes,
and
on the clip. And then Alex Taylor is like, oh, I've made a mistake. I actually love Clara. And I'm running out of time. I need to grab a taxi to an hour away. It's a very expensive taxi ride. But whatever.
Or Alec Taylor's best friend could also be their like chauffeur / personal assistant kind of a thing. Like if they're really rich, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even just give them a ride.
Or just give them a ride.
In
Either
some way. Yeah, best friend helps them go there. And we've got the slow motion running, and then we have this whole apology face to face, and then we go in for a kiss, and then
Alex Taylor pulls up the mistletoe.
Pulls out the mistletoe. Additionally, there's a C plot of the radio station not liking podcasts, and the podcast not liking the radio station, but best friend of Clara falls in love with a radio jockey. and that's just like we don't really talk about it, but it's in there somewhere.
Did I do it? Extra romance.
Is that the whole movie?
That's the whole movie. Thing.
The whole movie.
You got it.
I got it. Oh man, that was so much work and so good at the same time.
So good, but I'm so tired.
I'm very tired now. John, I can't believe you made a podcast holiday romance movie.
Listen, I can pull it off. These are the ideas that I'm bringing to the table. This is like popping off in my dome like 24/7.
Podcast?
I get these ideas. It's just going. It goes.
I can't believe we made a good movie about a podcast. These aren't supposed to be good. They're supposed to be bad.
They are supposed to be bad. So we did fail the brief, I think, a little bit.
I mean, when you bring me into the studio, the brief changes because I only throw slam dunks, which is not what you do to slam dunks. You don't throw them, but it's fun.
The problem is that we're supposed to be making bad movies.
I mean, have you considered making good movies?
That's a different podcast. That's a different podcast. That's the podcast that I get my my film school classmates, and we sit and talk for hours about how we would make a good movie, and it's very pretentious, and nobody needs to listen to that.
I was gonna say I would never listen to that. That would be so boring.
It would be so boring. That's why we make bad movies here.
But you see, we made a good movie, and I don't think that was boring. I think that was fun.
I think that was good. It was fun.
It was fun, but I'm tired. I don't want to do this again.
I think I've spent all of my energy just on this movie.
This is y'all's show.
It is our show. But what if it wasn't our show?
What if it wasn't our show?
6 more days of Coltsmas.
We do have 6 more days of Coltsmas. See, we're tired already.
Yeah, I mean, and one of those days is New Year's Eve. Let's not forget that. You gotta.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it is the 26th right now.
Right
it's
now.
It's true. I mean, John, you came with the good podcast, the word podcast. For
you just came with podcast.
That's all I came. I come with podcast.
I've spent all of my energy. I can't speak anymore. You came with the good idea to make this movie about a podcast. You seem like you have lots of good ideas. What if you just did the rest of it?
Now hold on a second. Are you just shirking your responsibilities onto me right now?
What?
I mean,
why would I do that?
I mean, you know, I do have more ideas though. I think, ooh, you know, I do like have like an extra dose of holiday cheer that I could bring to this.
You're very holiday cheer. I think my holiday energy is only going into putting the horse figurine out. I feel like I need
to point out that we all have Zoom backgrounds right now.
Well, I mean, you can't see it. You're not going to see it. But...
You can't see this, but I just, for reference, Jessica's is space, Britty's is a tropical island, and mine is just straight up a Christmas tree.
It's a Christmas tree with a lot of presents.
All in on this.
Yeah, John is ready. John, you are the Hallmark movie, is what this is. If this was a movie of the three of us, you would be the one with the cheer that makes the Christmas magic, that makes the lights turn on in town square. Like, neither of us are doing it.
Now I feel like maybe I like have to do this now.
I mean, if you do it, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Do you guys like have a guest list already lined up, right?
Yeah, we know who's going to be doing this.
Yeah, they'll do it with you.
I think.
I mean, I don't think anybody on the podcast network actively dislikes you, John. So I think you're in a good territory.
You're in good company.
It would be a fun surprise for all of them to be like, actually, John's here.
Actually, it's John now.
Actually, it's John now.
This is John now.
That's my T-shirt. It just says, "Actually, it's John now."
So.
Thinking about podcasts all the time.
Thinking about podcasts? Actually, it's John now. I'm gonna put that in the merch store only for one day.
I think, listen, I don't really have plans for the rest of the holidays. I don't really have anything to do. Work is pretty slow right now. Mm-hmm. I think I kind of want to do this, but I have one condition.
What's that?
Okay.
We call it Johnsmas.
I mean...
Okay, let me ask you one question.
Yes.
Okay. And let me just say this. We very loosely follow this rule. The guests follow it more than we do, of putting a horse somewhere in the holiday movie. We didn't do that this one.
I forgot. I can't believe I forgot.
But I think that, like, Clara can talk about horses, or go on a horse date. Or Alex Taylor can go on a horse date with somebody.
Oh, yes. Okay, perfect.
There could be a horse date somewhere.
But, okay, so we do that. So then my question is... my question to you, John, is... Do you have to be in each movie if it's Johnsmas?
Oh, good God!
Because I think you could play. I think you could play the best friend to Alex Taylor.
There, boom, done. I'm in each movie.
John is in each movie now.
All right, I guess we're doing Johnsmas then.
I guess this is the first day of Johnsmas.
I guess it's the first day of Johnsmas.
Oh, this is. I fear you may have given me too much power here.
Listen,
we're gonna see how this goes.
We're putting some trust in you here, but I think if you just follow the formula that we've put out this episode, I think you'll be fine. Because all you got to do is use the generator, make the holiday movie, and then cast yourself in it somewhere, and that's Johnsmas.
That's Johnsmas.
Gotta figure out how to brand this real quick.
Okay,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get it together.
I'm sure, like, we'll make something like really professional and nice looking. Like, we can.
I a Photoshop.
We
I can throw
custom
something
make
together.
it in a day. That's not too much.
I have
in like
a
the
degree
few
in
hours
this.
that we have to upload this.
Yeah, that's the upload is not the issue. I can bust out Photoshop in a couple hours. I don't have an issue with that.
Okay. I mean, yeah. So that is, in fact, the first day of Johnsmas. Then
First day of Johnsmas.
We did it.
We did it.
We did something anyway.
We accomplished something.
I am doing it.
Okay. Well, we didn't really discuss how we were going to close this out. So I will take the next bit.
Okay.
Cult Classics, the show that houses the show within the show within the show, is
we're 3 shows deep.
We're 3 shows deep now. Is part of the Pocket Podcast Network. Lots of great shows happening on the network. John, what are your shows?
I have 2 shows that haven't released episodes in like over 6 months, but that's a great time to catch up on them. You got Them's the Facts, which is a show I do with my college buddies where we try to trick each other, and Home Viewing, which is a show I do with my wife where we talk about our expansive Blu-ray collection.
And now you have a third show, John Smith.
God, I do have a third show now. What have you done to me?
I can't believe John has more shows than I do.
Oh no. Oh no.
Uh-oh. We gotta fix this real quick.
I also want to give a real quick preliminary shout out to the Pocket Podcast Network members who we have lined up to guest for the rest of these episodes.
And
I'm very grateful.
A wonderful surprise.
Yeah.
You are not there and I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really grateful for everybody on the network pitching in to make this little, bit that we do for this show so fun every year. So thanks in advance, everybody.
Yeah, they are all rock stars.
Yeah.
All right.
You can find Cult Classics, this show, or the normal version of this show anyways, on Twitter and Facebook at Cult Classics PPN. And we also have a YouTube channel for our episodes that have video. And also join the Pocket Podcast Network community Discord and chat with us in the channels.
Yes.
I would like to thank John Sebastian Quinpuerta. Oh, he's familiar.
Who's
for
that?
our extra special holiday intro music. As far as the outro music, Mike works fast. I got an idea here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see what he can throw out.
He can overnight something. I'm sure he can.
Yeah. Come on. So hopefully Michael Freitag for the outro music, if it's not the same as the intro music.
And remember, we don't know the outro.
Is it me?
It's you.
It's
your show now.
Oh no!
And remember, it's Johnsmas now.
It's John now.
That's the outro. It's John now.
Pocket Podcast Network. Quality programming right to your pocket.